Hey guys, Stuart Trier here from SEO Cheat Guides. Thanks for joining us today. We have a special guest with us. We have Sacha Jack from Marketing Winners Playbook. He's got a Facebook group out there. I'll make sure that we will link to that below. He's a digital marketer focused on client work, and he's in Manchester, England. So he's been kind enough to jump on, which is probably his afternoon, my morning. And without further ado, Sacha, thanks for joining us. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your background.
Thanks for having me, Stuart. It's been an absolute pleasure, and hello everybody who's watching. In terms of what where I'm coming from, been in the sales, marketing, and PR space for about 20 years. Covered pretty much everything you can think of within those spaces. Way back when I started on field sales, and then door to door, and then telesales, cold calling, and then since then I've done quite a lot of PR as well for various individuals and companies, getting some great results for them. And then we've been online for around about 10 years. It's been a kind of continual evolution of where I've come from, and then subsequently where the company has come from.
Okay, perfect. So you transitioned into digital marketing. So when you were first getting started, how did you first end up grabbing clients or finding clients?
That's a great question. I was thinking about that earlier, and I would say that our first clients were more kind of we went to a lot of networking meetings, and not necessarily BNI, but local chamber of commerce meetings, that kind of thing, and just got into conversations. And I've always come from this the angle, say yes and then worry about how to fulfill afterwards. And so I was getting more and more asked. I was coming from a sort of sales consultant point of view, marketing consulting. And then more and more clients, they were only like one-man bands, local restaurants, local professional services like lawyers, accountants, that kind of thing, were asking us, oh, do you know anything about online? I'd say yes, and then try and figure out what they wanted. And, there were days where I would physically have to be creating links instead of using a tool to create it or outsourcing it. And, there were days where I'd try and figure out how to work YouTube and, worry about the production values of a video and things. But, thankfully those days are over, and, we kind of learned and been sensible and practical in how we move things forward for a client.
It's an interesting story because a lot of people end up in client work or digital marketing. It seems like they learn the technical aspect, and then they have, I don't want to say trouble, but then they have to learn how to adapt to sales. It sounds like you've kind of reversed that. You had the sales down pat, and then it's a matter of learning the technical skills.
Exactly. Yeah, one of my business mentors is a guy called Jay Abraham, who I think many of the viewers will know, and if you don't, check him out. He's an absolute godlike figure.
Absolutely.
And he, even though his stuff is kind of, a lot of it is common sense, but it's obviously not that common because not everyone takes it up. But yeah, and he's always been about that: serve the client, serve the client, serve the client, and do whatever you can to serve the client. Offer guarantees, risk reversals, that kind of thing. And as this conversation goes on, I think you'll realise yourself, Stuart, and your viewers, that's kind of the philosophy I take through into the business. And it makes things a lot simpler, a lot easier. So, yeah, I'm all about the sales and, getting to the money as quick as we can.
Nice. So what kind of clients are you working with today? Do you focus on a niche, or do you focus on a geography, or it's kind of whoever shows up at the door is a good customer to grab?
It's a mix of all of them, to be fair. We got clients in the US, in Canada, in Australia, New Zealand, all over Europe. And surprisingly enough, we've only got a few in the UK, which is where we're based. And that is almost a conscious decision because, I don't like to push elephants up hills. I like to ride the escalator. So, in the UK, a lot of people are quite, how can I put it, cynical, negative, less than enthusiastic when you're presenting them anything to do with marketing or sales. They immediately throw it into the box of advertising, and we don't advertise. And it's like, oh, okay. So, I had a few, a year or two where, we were trying with the UK, and then I thought, hang on a minute, well, why should we do that? Why should we bang our heads against a brick wall? We know that, in North America, everyone, it seems to us, you'll probably tell us different, seems to us everyone is very positive and upbeat about business, and are prepared to give a new entrant into the market a chance to prove themselves, and that's what I respond to, and from a business point of view, that's what we love. And in terms of types of clients, the ones that pay the most money, to be quite honest. I know that's quite kind of blunt, but we've had our fair share of like one-man bands, solopreneurs, who want to pay out of the results fully, so no money up front. Well, we never do that. We've done that a few times in the early days and got burnt. And you learn very quickly if somebody isn't prepared to, what's the phrase, is not prepared to ante up even a few $100s, then what chance have you got in a month's time when you're presenting them with the first bill? So, that's kind of something that I would say is a bit of free piece of advice, is always get something at the beginning, for two reasons. One is so you're not working for free, and the second reason, it pre-programs that client to give you money. So they've already broken that barrier that mental barrier of theirs, and they'll give you the money next month when you present the bigger bill, as it were.
Perfect. When you're doing client work today, so what kind of services do you generally try to sell to a client first? Are you starting with SEO, or do you look for other easier kind of services that you want to pitch them first?
That question, and it's very different to maybe what you expect. We talk about the results that we'll get, which is ultimately for any business, is the increased sales. What are we doing? Anybody who's in SEO, for example, why are you doing SEO? Well, you just got to think and future pace yourself. Why does somebody want SEO doing? Because they want to be on the first page of Google. Why do they want to be on the first page of Google? So they're seen by more potential clients. Why do they want to be seen by more potential clients? So that we'll get more inquiries and ultimately sales. So we leapfrog over that and talk about the results that we'll get for them. And then whatever element, we have a sort of portfolio products. We can cover anything digital and anything online or offline marketing wise. So, and if we can't, there's certainly a partner freelancer or outsourced company of ours that we can put the work through and project manage. So we can take on pretty much any work, but it's got to be exciting enough for us, and we can get the results, and the client understands we can get the results. The moment they say, "Oh, you're just SEO," then in a way we're fighting almost a losing battle or a war of attrition, because then they're going to say to us, "Oh, well, my mate dog's uncle can do SEO for like $100 a year, so why should we give you $1,500 a month or whatever you're asking?" So we don't ever commoditize ourselves. If anything, we call ourselves client acquisition specialists. And when it gives them enough intrigue, what do you mean? Is that advertising? No, it isn't. Is that SEO? No, it isn't. And then we've engaged them and we've PK'd their interest, and then we can then calm them down and get a more meaningful discussion. So that's kind of the answer to that question.
So what can you share with us today in terms of when you're going out and looking for new clients today? Do you have any strategies or tactics that are working for you in your business in terms of bringing in new clients?
Yeah. And whilst I don't really want to use this opportunity of your time here, Stuart, as a plug fest, we do actually have a cold emailing formula that just works for us. We actually developed it in-house over the course of a year, 18 months, and it gets us between 7 and 15 positive replies for every 100 cold emails we'll send out, irrespective of what business. So whether that's home services, professional services, hotels, restaurants, car dealerships, shipping companies, you name it, insurance brokers. And, we were using that quite happily. And then around about 6 months ago, one of our clients asked us, hey, can we license that? And, the J. Abraham in me was saying, yeah, I'll license that concept. But it forced us to actually write it out step by step, exactly what we do to get the results. So it's practically an idiot's guide. So we can pass it on to anybody and they should be able to pick it up, run with it, set it up within an hour, and then sit back and wait for the positive replies, no matter what business they're in. And so that would probably be the best way. And plus, having come from a cold calling background many moons ago, it's not something I'd wish on anyone. or not, so at least we're doing it slightly different in the fact that we'll only call up a positive response from our outbound emails, and that makes the job so much easier. So you don't close everyone, I'm not going to lie, but it certainly helps, and we'll get something out of 1 in 3 of those that reply back to us, even if it's a little, I don't know, updating the Facebook profile. We know it's an in, so that they can trust us with a job that will produce for them, and then we can then sell them the bigger stuff.
Are you doing this to scraping lists and then sending it blind, or are you actually looking at each individual email before they're going out for those 100 in order to get your 5 to 7%?
I'm very much kind of the path of least resistance. So we did, and because email costs nothing, and because we've got the system set up so it's hands-free for ourselves, all I have to do is basically type a message to one of my VAs, and then it's taken care of. So no, I mean, I understand where you're coming from in terms of individualizing for some of the bigger projects, maybe, but the initial kind of connection is made with a completely cold email.
Great. So looking back, a lot of people are just starting their journey. You've been on this now for 10, 15 years. So looking back, what kind of advice would you give to a younger version of yourself if you were starting today?
Probably the first thing that comes to mind is spend your money, not your time. So many people think, oh no, I can't, I'm going to have to spend the next 6 months learning this stuff, and then I'll earn enough to be able to pay for a course or something about it. No. Do it the other way around. Pay for the course. Yes, it might be a big hit in your pocket, but it's funny. You've got to almost pay to pay attention to something. You've got to pay dollars out to pay attention. I mean, you'll probably know yourself I think every internet marketer or digital marketer or anybody on the first step of the career ladder make the mistake that, oh no, you can't invest in yourself. I mean, for instance, I go back to the cold emailing course just as a very quick example. Something like that, all right, it's just shy of $500, and it's a very little package. But we know that if somebody took that on, we've done the hard yards, we've done the time to basically refine it, reprocess it, measure it, quantify it, get it down into a duplicatable and consistent and coherent process that works every time for anybody. Then we know, yes, it might be a big hit initially, but you'll earn that money back in the first month if you just follow what we say. And we double the money back guarantee anyway on that, but that's another matter. But that's essentially what the people should do is they should spend money, not the time, because money you can always earn again. It doesn't matter if you're working a $10 an hour bar shift or whatever, you'll always earn money. But your time, you're never, ever going to get back. So you've got to value it. So, me and you are a little bit longer in the tooth here, Stuart, but I mean, now in the parents' bedroom, 17, 18, 19 years old, saying, oh no, I've got all the time in the world. You haven't, mate. You haven't. It soon creeps up on you, and as soon as you turn 30 years old, it's as if time gets a jetpack on its back and it just zoom, and it's like, wow, where did those years go? So you haven't got as much time as you think. So spend your money, not your time.
I definitely agree. It's good advice for sure. So speaking of time, so how do you currently divide your time? What are the major kind of activities that you spend your time on?
It's a mixture, really, because I'm all about kind of a life of, my time as a life. And so, as long as I make time so I can be with my family and, I can go and watch Manchester United football team, for those who don't know. I live on the ground. But, and go on nice holidays and see friends, then it doesn't really matter. I mean, thankfully I've got an understanding wife, and, she doesn't mind if, I want to stay up late and, be on Skype calls, because, as I say, a lot of my business is with the US. So with the time difference, certainly with West Coast, it's like 8 hours behind us. So, your sort of lunchtime is our 8 p.m. when I should really be kicking back watching TV or something. So, but, basically my evenings are taken up speaking to the US on the flip side of that, my mornings are fairly free. So I know once a lot of our VAs are in the Far East, in the Philippines, that Vietnam, those kind of places. So we know once we set the tasks for them, we know they're being done. So in the morning, I get all the reports back for whatever task they're doing, and I'm able to allocate whatever work they need to be done. And that's it. And so consequently, I find my busiest period in a day for me is when America wakes up and gets in the office, which is usually around 2 p.m. our time. And then from 2 p.m. till around 10 p.m., I'll be kind of servicing those clients, speaking to new clients. I mean, we have a great, you probably know it yourself, Stuart, the Calendly.com. And it's for anybody who hasn't got it, it's a great way of just, if you've got a client, rather than spend an interminable amount of time playing email tag with them, trying to just send them a link to your Calendly. You can get there's two versions. There's a free version, there's a $10 a month version. Free version is perfectly adequate when you're starting out. And when you get a client on the hook and you're trying to arrange a time, just send them the link to your Calendly and let them decide. And then you don't have to worry about it. If they're not kind enough or polite enough to book a time in, then you know they're not really serious. So you can move on to the next client. And these great little kind of filters that you learn along the way. I'm thinking back to sort of 7-8 years ago with a certain client. I wish I had something like Calendly, or somebody had told me about something like Calendly, because it would have saved me a lot of time chasing, cul-de-sacs and non-starter deals. People saying, I'd love to do it. Yeah, we've just got to speak to my partner. I've just got to do this. And they never actually, put the neck on the line to say, okay, let's do it. And it's a shame, really, because our business is based on results, a lot of it, because I've worked commission-only sales jobs where, you can work all day and not have a single penny, and then the very last call of the day at 4:59 p.m. all of a sudden you might earn $100 or something, and it feels like you've earned $1 million. And so, I woke up where it's like we haven't got any income scheduled, and we're going to have to do the grind to get the calls in. So that's my philosophy, to use your time wisely and use whatever tools you can get to kind of aid that. So whether that's cold email, whether that's Calendly, whether that's spend your money, not your time, whether that's a VA, whether that's saying yes to everything and then figuring it out afterwards, that's what I'd suggest to do.
Perfect. What do you recommend for cold email in terms of a mailing program?
Well, you know what? We're quite kind of primitive in that. We'll just use something like Gmail or Outlook. But we know there's some great programs out there like Mailshake and MailJet. And, we don't particularly like using autoresponders, but the simple fact is, they'll put the footer in at the bottom, or it'll say via whatever in the title or in the from section. So then that kind of flags to your potential client or the prospect that, it's cold. So we try to be under the radar a little bit, still keeping within, spam regulations, of course, because we know it's a serious thing. And, we know of a couple of companies in the UK where they've been fined like 70 grand, but, for sending out spam emails. Another company was, for about £500,000 for sending out cold text, SMS messages. So, we know it's, if you don't do it right, then, even though you think, oh, it's not going to hurt anyone, it's going to hurt you in the pocket if you get it wrong. So, in terms of the tools, Gmail, Mailshake, things like that.
Perfect. What other things should I have asked about mail? Since it seems you seem to focus in on mail, you have a program related to mail. What are some other tips you think you can give some newbies who are just starting out, other than obviously picking up a course and learning vicariously through other people's experiences, really accelerating that? I mean, I'm a big believer in that. I'm constantly reading. I'm constantly buying courses myself in order to upgrade my skill set. So I certainly echo that sentiment. But just in terms of tips or tricks or things that you feel confident sharing with the audience, so that people that are just starting out could start to see what they should be doing.
Yeah, don't overcomplicate it. Keep it very simple. Ask one thing in the email, no more. and speaking their language. Even take a second to think, right, what does that person want in their life or in the business, and then zero in on that, and that's it. Really, they're the simple things, and then use or be inspired by what others have done as well. And you can always ask the question. There's no harm in asking the question, but I would say, it's very much focus on what the prospect wants. Forget about what you're selling really initially. Don't pigeonhole yourself as SEO, video, or pay-per-click or Facebook ads. Don't pigeonhole yourself. Just focus in on what do they want. Invariably, it's more sales. Doesn't really matter what business. And any business person who says they don't want that is just lying or is dead. I don't know. They're just flat out lying, basically, because otherwise, why else would they? If they're interested, if they're happy with the status quo, what they're earning, then you may as well just go and get a job. That the most exciting thing about being sort of having your own company and that is that it's unlimited. You can do whatever you want, and if you wake up in the morning and think, you know what, I want to be a window cleaning company today, fine, do your market. As I said, I think you touched on earlier, Stuart, where you said, I don't come from the technical side, I come from the sales marketing. Exactly, yeah, I'll go and see, is there a market for window cleaners? Is there a market for, window cleaners who live in Manchester but do windows in Vancouver? Is there a market for that? And then we'll go, and if there is, then we'll go with it. Don't be we've evolved as a company, several times, and we'll probably evolve again. But I think what we focus on, which is the results, getting the sales and marketing results for the clients, we find that that's almost an evergreen thing. It's never going to go out of fashion as long as we live in a capitalist society. That every business will want more sales, and we can help them get that. It doesn't matter who they are. It's just whether we want to take them on as a client, really. That's what I would say.
Perfect. All right. Well, I like to ask this question. So, what purchase have you made? Let's say in the last few weeks or last few months, $100 kind of price point. That's been something cool that you're enjoying playing with.
I'm just looking at a list. I've got a list here of about a dozen things we've bought in the last little while. You'll probably know some of them, maps. But Serplify is quite a good one. The Serpinator, that's not a bad. Yeah, I would probably say. Oh no, actually, I'm gonna a shout out to Andy Black of Black Web Solutions, because he's got a great program with one of his partners, Max Versashian, called vMarketer Pro. I don't know if you know it.
Nope.
It's vMarketer Pro, which is the letter V and then marketer and then pro, all one word. It's a mass YouTube uploading tool.
Oh, cool.
He's got bags of it. Now you're saying about $100. Well, it actually works out about $37 a month, which I suppose, if somebody has it for 3 months and they can drop it. So I'm actually maybe doing them a favour. You don't have to spend $100. But Andy's program, vMarketer Pro, is just phenomenal. It's a cloud-based tool to multi-upload videos to YouTube, and you can spin titles, and it does voiceovers, it adds music, and you can put in the descriptions, the tags. It gives some great coaching and tutorials about how to get ranked quickly. And to give you an idea, I've actually not used the tool personally myself. I just basically subscribed to it and then handed it over to a VA, and she and her sister work it. And so in the last sort of 4 or 5 months, we've uploaded and ranked. And this is on page 1 of Google, not page 1 of YouTube, which I think anyone should be able to get page 1 of YouTube, but page 1 of Google. So you're stealing one of those spots off a competitor, and you'll have your little video thumbnail image there as well. So you're getting double bubble. And we've ranked somewhere in the region of 12,000 videos in the last 1 month. So using that tool. So that gives you an idea, and it's more than paid for itself. We use it as almost a little trick here is for somebody starting out, is as a little teaser, is you get vMarketer Pro, follow the tutorials. Usually it'll take a day of your life just to learn it. And, you know, if you want to pass it on to a VA, you do that. But anyhow, cutting, you know, all of that out. If you go to a client and they're sitting on the fence, oh, we're not sure, we don't know. You know, say, for instance, you're pitching SEO, and I know I said we don't do that, but the conversation invariably sometimes talks about that. And then they're still balking at the price, they're not sure. You say, okay, I'll tell you what then, I'll get you a video ranked on page 1 of Google. And they're like, oh yeah, that'd be great, yeah, how? And then you think all of a sudden, you know, a lot of people, even though us in the IM game, you know, we know that videos are 10 a penny, and we know we can make one on our iPhone and get it uploaded in 30 seconds from that. But people out there don't know that.
Right.
90%, 95% of the world don't know that. So when you go to a client and say you can get them ranked on page 1 of Google with a video for free, they don't pay anything until we got them ranked. And then you can pay us, you know, $100. They're like, yeah, all right then. So you're going to get it ranked for free, and then we only pay you when it's ranked? Yeah, that's it. Then all you do is you use vMarketer Pro, you create a video there, making sure that you get the description. But the key thing is to do a long tail key phrase.
Sure.
You don't go for plumber, you know,
New Jersey.
New Jersey, yeah, you'd go plumber, Perth Amboy, New Jersey, or 24-hour emergency plumber, Perth Amboy, New Jersey. Super long tail key phrase. You should get that ranked within about 20 minutes, half an hour.
Sure.
But then for dramatic effect, you'll say to the client, I think I can get it ranked in a week. And then 2 days later, wow, you're ranked, even though, you know, half an hour later you're ranked. That's too quick when you're ringing up, because I think you're up to something. Whereas if you go 2 days later, it's just sales psychology. So if you go 2 days later, wow, can't believe it. Yeah, we got ranked already. I'm gobsmacked, but, you know, there you are, Mr. Client. They're like, wow, there's your $100, right? What more can you do? And it's just, you know, it's managing their expectations and impressing them all at the same time. And vMarketer Pro is a great thing for doing that with.
Perfect. There you go. $37 a month. You guys can check that out. Well, Sacha, I really appreciate you taking the time to join us here on SEO Cheat Guides. If you guys watching this enjoyed this content, please make sure to subscribe below, hit the thumbs up button, and I will see you in a future video. I'll make sure to link to Sacha's site, Marketing Winners Playbook, his Facebook group, and if you're interested, you could definitely reach him there and ask about his email marketing program. Thanks a lot, Sacha.
No problem. Thanks, Stuart.